Hey, sexy world travelers. Just to let you know, this episode contains content regarding suicide. Some folks might find this difficult to listen to, so discretion is advised. If you or someone you know is experiencing suicidal thoughts or a crisis, please reach out immediately to the Suicide Crisis Lifeline by dialing 988 or text HOME, H-O-M-E, to the crisis text line at 741-741. These services are free and confidential. Safe travels.
Hey, it's me, Mentalist. I am back. Not that I was really gone, but I pretended to be gone last week, so now the real me is back. I am here bringing you another episode of the wonderful, amazing, big, sexy Digital Nomad. This week we're gonna steer the ship in a little bit of a different direction. We're gonna get a little serious on you. You'll understand what all of that means as we get into it. Here he is, Big Sexy.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever this is hitting your ear holes, I hope that it is good. I am placing I placed a trigger warning at the beginning of this episode that I'll record after we record this episode. But I'm gonna place one at the beginning because the topic, well, one of the main topics of today is something that happened last week, and I was going to talk about it in last week's episode, but it was Leap Day, and we had three special guests. We had Leap Day William, Billy, and Larissa, and it just didn't feel right to talk about this, but I did want to mention that, you know, we here at Big Sexy Digital Nomads, we're all about shenanigans and fun and my travels and your magic and travels here and there. And so, but occasionally things happen. And I would be remiss if I am only sharing with you parts of my life that are, you know, fun or problematic due to travel, but not like, you know, real hardcore stuff. So oddly enough, it is a bit of an Italian air show. And so I'm going to give it to you in the Italian air show format. And for those who don't know, and we talked about it kind of last episode, Italian air show is, you know, something good is supposed to happen, and then something bad happens, and then something worse happens. So the good part was I was able to go back to my college campus, and they're building a new theater. It's going to be amazing. Walk through the old theater. The guest artist costume designer for the last show I was in is now the chair of the department, which was a bit of a mindfuck walking in there and talking to him. And Andre, shout out to Andre, is really cool. I earlier had lunch with my friend and mentor, Kathy Irvin. And she's like, you got to go back to the campus and see everybody. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So we rode back to the campus. I left my car, you know, parked, and then we rode together with her, and because she has parking pass, because, you know, you got to share that money with the parking pass. We get to the campus and we're walking around. It's a lot of fun, and seeing everybody. You know, I step back on the stage that I performed at when I was there on campus, on the main stage. And I had the sensation, one, I got goosebumps, right? Because, you know, nostalgia kind of drives that. But then I looked around, I'm going, this space is so small. But I remember being there thinking it was so big. You know, at the time, it was probably one of the biggest stages I had performed on in college, maybe. But, you know, until I moved to Vegas and professional, I'm performing in large houses, right?
And we all know you've been up on Penn and Teller's stage, you know, when you recorded that Full List spot.
Yes. But also, to be fair, I was also in Evil Dead the musical at the V Theater in Planet Hollywood, which is also a pretty big theater. There a few times. So I'm feeling this. It's small and cool. So I keep it moving. I go back to the scene shop where my friend Eric is now the technical director of the Cal University of San Bernardino. And we're talking and hanging out and everything, and getting ready to head back. And so, boom. Okay, cool. Great, everything great so far. We're walking back with Kathy, and she's taking me back to my car. And while driving, Andre, who is the chair of the department, calls and tells Kathy, "You have to come back here immediately. You absolutely have to come back here immediately." So things are not sounding great. Kathy drops me off in my car, and I, drive back home. I think nothing of it. The planes crash when my friend Andy calls me and tells me that my friend and mentor, my other friend and mentor, Tom Provenzano, had passed away. Which is weird because I went to the office to say hi, right? And he wasn't there, and I left the Rainbow Dreamcatcher sticker on his door to let him know that I was there, and hopefully message me and say hi. Sorry that I missed him. That was bad news. Then Andy proceeded to tell me, and this is when the jet fuel comes in, that Tom Provenzano committed suicide. And his body was found in the theater, in the basement of the theater, by my friend Eric, who I had just seen 30 minutes prior to him finding the body. So my friend and mentor, Tom Provenzano, hung himself in the basement of the theater. He was dead underneath my feet when I was there. So trying to wrap your brain around the random circumstances that took me to the campus on that day and the order of events that happened, right? That had I just been off, had I just been in Spain or, another random day and just got the message, it would have hurt. I mean, it still hurts. My friend suffering from depression, decided that, and I don't know the reason. He left a note for Eric in his office, but the note just said, "In the basement, call the police." So I don't know the full reason why. I don't know if he found out he was sick. I don't know if there's something going on with his relationship. I don't know if he would, just suffer from the depression that a lot of artists do and finally succumb to it. Anything. I don't know, and I don't know if I'll ever know. And but a friend of mine committing suicide is hard. It hurts. It's not the first time. Hopefully it's the last, but I doubt if it will be. The fact that I was there on campus of all days is fucking with me, right?
Yeah.
And the hard part is, like, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, but yo, Big, it's not about you, right? It's not about how this affects you and your journey with it. But the only person I can view it from is my own viewpoint, right? So that's been hard. Then we on Saturday, maybe it was Sunday, there was a get together it was Sunday. There was a get together. Nope, it was Saturday. There was a get together at Eric's house with other alumni, and Kathy came through. So we kind of got to sit and talk and reminisce and catch up. I hadn't seen people that I saw people that I hadn't seen in decades, which was great. Sucked the reason why we got together, but Always. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
And I realized I was struggling with grief and anger. Right, the grief. I mean, I lost a good friend of mine. Sad that my mentor passed, whatever. But I was mad that he did such a shitty thing to my friend Eric. Like you could, and to the theater department, you could have done that anywhere. You had a house. You could have figured out where, but to do it in the theater, I think maybe he wanted to be the theater ghost. Moving forward, now the theater ghost name is Tom, and now we got to have a ghost light on stage and in the basement. But it was a sucky week to say, and that happened on Tuesday. So when I came, I was going to talk about it on Thursday. And then the first image I see is you dressed as Leap Day William with your bright and colorful bubblegum background.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, no, not today. we're not gonna talk about this today. So I said we'll postpone it for today's episode. So I've always been a proponent of, trying to be that friend if somebody's struggling that they can come to and have a sympathetic ear and empathetic ear. And if you're struggling with, suicidal idealization and thoughts of that and depression, please reach out. If not to Big Sexy or, to somebody close, just start with the phrase, I'm struggling. Can we talk? Help that. There's also, if you're in the US, there is a universal suicide hotline. You just dial 988. I looked that up to see what that was. I wanted to be sure to mention that in this episode. Dial 988 and you can get help. So if you're hearing this and you're having those kind of thoughts, please get help. Either reach out to us, reach out to your friends or family, or if you don't have people you think you can trust or close like that, call the number, talk to a specialist, talk to a professional, get help. I'd rather have you here than gone. That's just a blanket statement.
Yeah,
I'd
for
rather
sure.
have you here than gone. So that was my week, right? And so, everything started off great, man. It was gonna be a great Tuesday, and then I got home, and then it was fucking rough. But other than that, pretty good week.
It's still, I mean, so tough to be able, to really disconnect from something like that and kind of relive moments. Because what if, you went there and it was kind of like you said, random that you ended up there on Tuesday? What if you had ended up there Monday? Is that running through your head to say, hey, had I run into him, could I have changed the direction of his world?
Yeah. Oh,
Delayed
believe me,
that,
yeah, I sat with that a lot. Right. Had because originally me and Kathy were going to get lunch on Monday, and then I would have went to campus, and I probably would have saw him if he was there, and would have talked to him and chatted, whatever. Then I went there Tuesday. Had I gotten there earlier, well, apparently they think it happened. He did it in the morning, so that no way I was going to see him then.
right.
But listeners know I don't do mornings. I don't like it. Even on today, I had to get up to go to dance class. And I love dance class, man, but I hate having to get up early. But the thought had I ran into him, had I met him, had we talked, would that have been enough or not?
And that's, you're never going to get the answer to that question.
Ever.
I have been fortunate enough so far in my life to not experience that specific tragedy with great proximity. So, to know, but you hear all of the time when these things happen that most of the people closest to them were clueless as to whatever they may have been struggling with. So,
Yeah.
And we've built up such, I don't even know how to say it, like a shit show of a society where talking about those types of things has such a stigma to it that most people leave it inside, which is, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy and a self-perpetuating issue where if people aren't going to talk about it, then you're almost always going to get the "we had no idea. We didn't see this coming. This is the last thing that we thought was going to happen."
Now, I will say with Tom, it doesn't come as a big surprise. He's always been dramatic. So a dramatic exit, kind of par for the course. He also suffered, I knew he suffered from depression, and he buried it with work and acting and entertainment and, teaching, getting ready to retire soon. So Judgmentalist, how has your week been?
Wait, I thought that was going to start with Guess Who's Back. Well, it's us again. We're on the third little chunk here. We got the Trailer Park Girls there, but whatever. I haven't listened to that song in a decade or more. You asked me how my week was.
How was your week?
I was going to say kind of crazy, and then shit just jumped off again and got weird. Busy, always busy. Okay, so we recorded Thursday, right?
Correct. That was Leap Day.
Okay, so a little preemptive sports ball talk. So a second trigger warning for a totally different reason for this episode. So, I talked about. Did I talk about have we recorded the bank episode yet? Where I rant and rave and talk more about the NFL business?
Yes.
Okay. You haven't heard that yet. So that'll come at some point in time. So to give the abridged version for anybody who does not know, about 6 years ago, I decided because of a client of mine's son that it would make sense for me to become an NFL agent. And I did. It was a bitch of a process. Eventually that episode is going to drop. It is what it is. So I fast forward to the way that operates now. It is very similar to the way that some people invest in racehorses. Right. I'm part of a collaborative group of other NFL agents, and we basically, instead of investing $30,000, $40,000 to represent a guy going into the draft, we split something like that 5 ways, 6 ways, 10 ways, what have you. We've got, we get a number of players every draft class and, a number of players in the league. And obviously we split the fees, the commissions when they are successful as well, the same way. We've got a guy this year that participated in the NFL Combine. That is basically the underwear Olympics.
But I saw that. Guys, the picture you posted, that dude is a beast.
So we represent a tight end from Washington College. His name is Devin Culp. And on Friday, one of the tests, I guess is what I'll call it, that's part of the Combine, probably the most widely reported upon test for all players, regardless of their position, would be the 40-yard dash. And our client, as far as specific position wise, ran the 4th fastest time for a tight end in the entire history of the Combine.
Damn.
Yeah. Clearly leaps and bounds the fastest in tight ends at this Combine, but all time.
Of all time.
The 4th fastest tight end at the Combine. So that was awesome for for an offshoot of my business that's been kind of hit and miss my desire to even stay involved in it. at the level that I am right now, to get a little bit of validation to the lengthy growth process that is becoming even marginally successful in that realm. It was a nice little thing to have happen. So there's that. So that was cool, good news. And he was already fairly firmly set as a likely draft pick prior to that.
Nice.
Not all, but most of the players who get invited to the combine do get drafted.
Right.
If you get invited as a player to the NFL combine, it almost means that your draft pick is yours to screw up from this point forward. It is by no means a guarantee. There are a ton of reasons why players don't get drafted. Performance is an obvious one, but also off-field behavior, attitude in general, definitely one. One of my favorite elements, one of my favorite quotes going back to the NFL Combine from decades ago. Anybody who remembers Deion Sanders?
Neon
Deion at the Combine. I don't remember the specifics, but one of the teams approached him and wanted him to do some sort of test that he wasn't interested in doing. And kind of there was a back and forth of some sort. And again, I may be butchering this story, but the crescendo, the big end here is the important thing.
Right.
It eventually gets to the point where he goes, "What pick do you guys have in the draft?" And they're like 12 or something like that, to which he responds, "Oh, I'll be gone by then, so it doesn't matter." Generally, that's the type of attitude that will get some teams to pass on a guy. But Deion was just that damn good that it didn't matter.
And he was gone by before 12.
And he was gone before that team picked, yes. So yeah, that for an area of my life that is certainly not a primary focus, it was nice to get a little win there. You know what I mean? And
well, congrats.
Yeah, he was the 5th pick in the 1989 NFL draft.
Man, we're old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was, that was, it's always good to get a little good news when you're on the fence about whether or not you should even continue to pursue something, because as I go into in that episode, just the sheer cost to maintain my status as an NFL agent. Let's not even talk about deciding to represent another player. Just that annual cost to stay in that game is a little steep for what it is. But each step of success in that business is something that certainly is to be built upon for future draft classes. So, having that will certainly, because we had so much to do with how fast our tight end ran. Sarcasm, if you didn't pick up on that, it will legitimately make recruiting tight ends easier next year.
Nice.
It makes no sense because, again, I didn't lace up those shoes. I didn't run that time. Sure, I paid for the training that helped him get there. But
then that'll be part of it. And, he wanted to show out for you guys.
If you're fucking fast, you're fucking fast. Let's put it that way. This is all him. All right. I don't want to diminish that from it, But yeah. So that was kind of cool. Getting a ton of inquiries for the Hypnosis show, which is great.
Awesome.
A lot of fundraiser shows, which is kind of something that we've decided to focus on and want to do a lot of. So I'm super happy about that. Kind of as a dipping toes in the water toward potentially doing something on the representation side or the booking side of things for you. I started working off of some of the stuff that we started doing. So some of that stuff started to go out, soliciting to high schools about doing fundraiser shows.
That was an interesting journey into data entry. And it grew and grew. It's funny. So listeners, if you don't know, Judgmentalist had me create a spreadsheet of all the high schools in Delaware and then all the high schools in Maryland. And, I'm glad I started with Delaware. Delaware was my learning curve of finding the information and transposing it and copy and pasting it over to a spreadsheet. And plus, and I got the information from Wikipedia. I mean, at least the schools, you sent the links over of all the high schools. And the way they listed it in Wikipedia, the copy and paste and move stuff over, got a lot of information I didn't need. And then I would go to each school's website to grab their contact information. And there was 90 something schools in Delaware, and maybe about by school 75-ish, one didn't have, I couldn't find a website. So I went to search for the school in Google, and I found out that Google puts all that information right there. So I didn't have to go to the website. I can get the address there, the website there, the phone number there. And I went, I only need to Google search the name of the school, and then I have all the information I need that I can copy and paste into the spreadsheet.
Usually.
Usually.
Because for everything there's always the time that it's not.
Right. The good thing was every now and then, I don't know if it's a good thing, but every now and then the school will be permanently closed. So that was an easy delete. Oh, that's a fast one. And then sometimes I am responsible for a lot of the schools in Maryland now having their websites on Google.
Really?
Yes, because what I end up doing, so I would click on, I'd search for the school. I have the information there, but because I'm a perfectionist and I wanted to have a full spreadsheet and all the websites, and I know most schools have a website. If it didn't have a website, I went back to Wikipedia, and Wikipedia always had a website for them. So I'd copy and paste the website from Wikipedia. I double check to make sure it works. Then I go back to Google and I would, add the website to it, and then continue on. And I got cute little notifications. Thank you. Your, information regarding such and such high school has been approved. I did that maybe about 20 times. Because Maryland, there were like 369 schools, whatever. And I did that for maybe about 25 to 30 schools. So you're welcome, high schools in Maryland. Big Sexy Digital Nomad got your back. All you staff should follow us.
That's right. And book me for a show. And
book Judgmentalist for your kids. So yeah, that was that. And funny, I do appreciate having that busy work also to help me focus my brain elsewhere. You know what I mean? And I'm thankful to Billy and Larissa. Shout out to Billy and Larissa, who are our sponsors for Big Sexy Digital Nomad out at cruisehabit.com. Listeners, be sure to go to cruisehabit.com and check out all your cruising information, travel information. It's a great site. I recommend you do it now. Not right now. Finish this episode, and then once this episode is done, go do it. Or if you're able to, have two windows open, if you're listening online or whatever, do that. Whatever. Just don't stop listening. Ever.
And they're great. I mean, obviously, well before we were talking to them about being sponsors, well before we recording them for that or anything like that, they've been here since the very, very early episodes.
Yeah.
Provided some valuable insight. In fact, I think that I used a lot of that insight before I went on my very first cruise. And, there's just a ton of great stuff on there. And I know damn well that things like the discount that you get by going to the spa, whatever the thing is, the raffle for the spa, because you take that little preview on day one of the cruise. That was great because we ended up getting massages on that
Right.
cruise, and we paid. Not only did we pay a super low price, but then we were like, let's go get another one, and let's see if we can't kind of weasel them into giving us the same discounted price since we had come to that thing on day one. And sure enough, they did. So, we basically got a 2-for-1. And one of the greatest things about the cruisehabit.com website is it's not, you're not paying for the info. It's just there. When you're watching their YouTube videos and things like that, ads get fed in. So that's kind of where I understand their revenue comes from. So watch all their YouTube videos too.
Yeah.
A, the info is good. B, don't skip through the ads because, well, that's how they get paid.
Yeah, exactly. At least watch 15 seconds of the ad.
And also,
the math of it.
we this is interesting, and this plays in well here because I had a meeting with Chris Lowry and his wife, who are travel agents. We've had Chris on the show before. He's a supporter, so thank you for that. But
alpacamybagscruises.com. It's still that. It's still that. They haven't changed it yet.
So, we talked about, instead of, because we've talked many times about me wanting to maybe do performances on a cruise ship, but not in the way where I'm gone for 3, 4, 6, 8 months at a time,
right?
But to just do them one at a time, 1 week at a time or whatever. And, the idea that we talked about, which will probably dovetail into us doing something eventually as a podcast, probably linking that in with Billy and his people, as well as maybe involving Chris and who knows who's going to be involved in all of that. But I kind of got the rundown on how with most of these cruise lines, these group cruises work. And, I'm not going to get too much into the weeds right now, but a lot of times, once a year, once every other year, maybe twice a year. And obviously you're seeing Cruise Habit be involved in this. There are these group cruises that, you book through a specific travel agent who's kind of steering the ship on that. And I know that the Cruise Habit have somebody lined up for when they do those. Yeah. And you get the cruise just like everybody else, but you get a lot of stuff for free. You get a lot of extra stuff. There are specific to your booking group activities that only your people have access to, like if you've been on a cruise and you've looked at that schedule of events, and then there's some weird thing on there that's like Friends of Big Sexy, and it's got a time and a location, but it's not for you.
Right.
That it's somebody that's booked a group cruise. And a lot of times these things happen for as few, I think he said, is like 6 or 8 beds, or maybe 6 or 8 cabins.
Right.
Allows you to get that group status and extra perks. There are also, as you climb that ladder of people, you get access potentially, if you want it, to other areas of the ship. So if in this whole idea, and of course at our size, we'd have to team up with somebody to make this happen,
right?
Whether it be Billy, whether it be Chris and Lisa, whether it be all of them together or what have you, we don't have the size right now, and probably won't within the next year, to just do a big sexy group cruise.
Not yet, but we're going to be there. That's what 2024 is gearing towards.
It's definitely a build mode.
It's building the community so that 2025, hopefully, fingers crossed, universe, listen up, we can do a group cruise in conjunction with our friends over at cruisehabit.com and alpacamybagscruises.com.
And maybe we even, we start networking with some other podcasts and stuff like that, and link some of them in. Who knows? But I think at least for Carnival, to be able to get access to the theater for your group, you need to have like 20 beds or something like that on the cruise, right. Which, again, for me to do my show, I want that many people there anyway. So, right. At some point in time, having the ability to put 50 to 100 people into some sort of a group cruise, we get to do all of that stuff and, add in all that extra stuff. So really, I don't know that I have, I was always on the fence and talked very openly about it on here about how much I wanted to pursue working on cruise ships directly through the cruise line. This looks like a way of kind of working around that, being able to perform on a cruise ship without having to deal with all the negative stuff that is less desirable about it.
Right.
So, that's probably not a 2024 thing. It's probably a 2025 thing. I know that, Chris and Lisa and I have talked about a group cruise that they're doing out of Florida somewhere in November. Depending on how those numbers shake down, that is definitely one that could be a possibility. It's probably not something that we do and link in on, but if for whatever reason anybody's interested in that, although where are you going to be in November? You should be back in Spain, right?
Well, yes, hopefully. And it's going to segue into the next part of our next discussion about what I've applied for, and fingers crossed that the timing works to happen. So I'm going to put out there and just say yes. And next November I'll be in Spain, but that doesn't mean that if I can't fly back if I got the money to do so.
I'm trying to find this thing so I could throw the dates and at least the location out there.
Right.
That way, if anybody's like, "Ooh, yes, I would want to do that," we could at least start the conversation. It's a 7-night cruise on Holland America.
Okay.
And it leaves November 10th. Out of Fort Lauderdale.
Nice.
And I believe it's Caribbean. And the great thing about the price, and obviously they start at a price and then they go up depending on what kind of cabin you want. Drinks are included, Wi-Fi is included, onboard credit is included. Obviously all the food and stuff is included. I believe the other thing that you get, Grand Turk, San Juan, St. Thomas looks like the ports.
Nice.
November 10th through the 17th. So if you somehow are interested, and this is the deal, as of today, I'm not going on this cruise. Big Sexy's not going on this cruise.
Right.
But if 5 or 6 of you are like, hey, that date might work, and you reach out to us, we'll connect you with Chris. And if things start to form, we'll fucking be on that cruise. Why not?
We'll make it happen. Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
yeah. So, you asked where I'll be. I recently segue. Sometimes when you don't have an organic one, just saying the word will do.
Yeah.
Segue. I applied to start teaching as an auxiliaries de conversación in Spain. Basically an assistant English teacher with the Spanish, through the Spanish government. So I've applied for that. Both me and the wife are applying. If I get it, then it starts in October. And it's good for like 10 months. Right. You teach 14 hours a week, and then, the rest is up to you. I'll also start taking Spanish classes to improve my Spanish, which, I've been doing.
But you need to learn English too, right?
Well, no, it's all right. As long as I know, I got broken English, broken Spanish, and fluent sarcasm, I should be all right.
All right, good. You got to teach them the important shit.
The important shit. You got to make sure that they understand if they're going to come to the U.S. how to speak this shit. But hopefully we get that, fingers crossed, that we'll be able, they provide a visa, they provide a stipend, they provide health insurance. So
nice.
That'd be the greatest way to go. And so hopefully we get that. In the meantime, we'll still be doing our 90 days in, 90 days out travel situation until we lock that down. We're going to have to come back to the U.S. If we get it, we have to come back to the U.S. to do all the paperwork for it, because you have to apply from the U.S. So we're going back to Spain. That got postponed. We were supposed to go back in April, and now going back sometime in May. We're moving those tickets because we want to be in Spain over the summer, because a lot of shit happens in the summertime, and we don't want to have to leave just as things start getting good.
When in October would it start?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm assuming the beginning of October, probably somewhere in the first 10, 14 days. Yeah, I don't know for sure. But we, as if we get it, I'll know. Yeah,
Yeah,
as
yeah,
it
yeah.
comes down, then we'll get it and figure it out. Maybe it's October 1st. Who knows? My wife probably knows, but I don't. So yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, fingers and toes, and if I could, my nose, I'd get that. Then we can go. So that's where we'll be. But also on the flip side, we do have this voucher that we need to use on Virgin Voyages that we got last year. We got 2
Yeah.
years to use it. So no matter what, we're doing a cruise between now and um, May of next year. So we're not gonna let that expire. So on Virgin Voyages. So I was actually talking to Billy about everybody getting together and doing a small little Caribbean thing
Yeah.
from Florida, maybe on one of our comebacks. So we'll see. We'll figure out how to make that happen. Yeah. So the as you know, I've been searching for work. The job search has been terrible. I did start doing little, those take surveys for money sites. I started doing a
Yeah.
couple of those, just trying to generate anything to generate some income. It's it's tough. The struggle is real. Like, I'm living my dream. Make no mistake, I'm living the dream. Well, not right now. I'm I'm living my old life, but but I have the memories of, and I'm in communication with, and I'm really excited for. My wife hit me up the other day and was like, I don't know if this was the best thing to do. I'm like, it absolutely was. This was absolutely the best thing to do. If anything else, I have wonderful memories. I made wonderful friends around the world. I've interviewed people from around the world. If we didn't do this, I wouldn't have started this podcast. It'd have been different. We would have started a podcast, but it wouldn't have been about travel.
Right.
And it may not have been as interesting. So I think, the fact that I'm traveling around the world brings an interesting aspect to this whole thing we're doing here. And I love doing this here. So yeah, that's where I'm at this week. It's been a week. I saw your post on Monday. Today has been a week.
What a hell of a week today.
What
has
a hell
been.
of a week today has been. Yeah, it's been a week. I only struggle because I get cabin fever, and California's lonely. Like it's me and my mom and my wife in this house. And then I go to a dance class every Monday and Wednesday. And I've seen a few friends here and there. But like in Spain, I was talking about the other day, there's life everywhere. Just right
Yeah.
outside the door, there's just life. There's people. There's people eating in little restaurants or going shopping or walking their dogs or sitting by the beach or on the beach or, getting on the bus, getting off the bus, taking the train. There's just so much life everywhere. And it's just so empty here. It's nothing but roads and houses and cars. And that is draining. And I don't see my friends nearly enough. And we don't have the kind of community to start like Sunday mahjongs here. I also don't have the place. My mom don't want people over her house every single Sunday. But if I could, I would. So those kind of things come, few and far between. We had a garage sale that was okay, went pretty well. Add a little bit of cheddar into the coffer, so that was nice. And we still got more shit to sell, so I'll be doing that again soon. The wife's birthday's coming up. Excited for that. Her birthday is on the 20th. We're going to go to San Diego with my friend Levon and our godsons, James and William. You guys might remember me talking about them in the episode normal neck pillow and a normal watch. Those are my boys are so cute. They're doing really well in school. Like Levon just posted, celebrating. They're doing really wonderful in school. So I can't wait to celebrate with them and check out San Diego and do some fun things and help celebrate the birthday with the wife. Shout out to all March birthdays. Happy Women's History Month. Shout out to all the ladies.
First day of spring is coming.
And yeah. And it's been raining at least once every week here.
Oh, it's been raining at least once every day here. So
Yeah, but you're in Maryland. That's fair. That makes sense there. I'm in California. It's not supposed to do that here, but it has been.
true,
So,
true.
so been dealing with that,
I'm going
and
to Disney World next week.
oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
I was gonna take my wife to Disneyland for her birthday, and then I saw how much it cost, and went, nope, I'm gonna save that money for visa stuff. And my friend Levon hit us up with the possibility to go to San Diego and stay there for a bit, so we're gonna do that instead. They got good old fashioned timeshare style facility. Got a couple bedrooms, so we can go and stay there, and then do the San Diego
Cool.
thing.
You should try to hit up Mystique Dining while you're there. Or they also so in San Diego, Mystique's got the normal restaurant, with their multi-course meal and then the magician afterwards. But then they also have I want to say it's called the Gaslight District. It's like right downtown. They have it's like a lounge or a bar where you're not even buying a ticket. You're just going in like you would go to a bar. So you just, buy whatever you want off the menu or nothing at all. And they have bar magicians or strolling magicians. And I think they have like parlor shows there that you can also buy a ticket for, but I don't know the details because I haven't done that circuit yet. Their guys talked to me about doing that circuit. And I'm like, well, I'm kind of going in a different direction. Let me get back to you when I put some stuff together that fits my character, which I've got some of that put together. That would fit the format of what you're doing, because I don't think you guys want me hypnotizing people at a dinner table.
Right. Right. Unless you can make them tip more. This is possible news, upcoming news. Since we moved our travels back to May, Big Sexy might actually be at Scoop Fest.
Ooh.
I'm currently talking to the guys about hosting karaoke, which is the only way I can afford to go to Scoop Fest. Yeah, so if I'm able to host karaoke there, then they usually let me do that in lieu of paying for Scoop Fest, because I'll be working Scoop Fest in that case. Then I'll go and do all the things. I also ordered shirts, so I have some merch coming. I got ordered stickers to gear up for this whole thing. I'm looking forward to. So we'll see how all this goes.
Yeah. He missed the cough button at first, but then he found it. So
I literally went to hit it, and I accidentally, so my has the mute button and the volume knob, and my finger hit the volume knob as I was coughing. Like, that's not the mute button. Sorry, y'all. I'll probably find it and edit that out.
No, you won't.
I won't.
This episode has been such a clusterfuck to get here. It's what, 4 segments now that you got to edit together?
Yeah, but to be fair, when it's like this, when I have to do so much editing, I'm already
while you're in there, right?
Yeah. I'm already in it, so I'm already listening and cleaning up stuff. And I'm already going, that cough's in there, and it's easy to find because it'll be the peak. I might be able to cut that out, but if I do cut it out, I'm not cutting any of us talking about me cutting it out. I'm gonna leave all that in there, so listeners will know. Apparently, he coughed, but we missed it.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it.
Well, that's good. It's almost going to be a relatively uneventful week, in light of Leap Day being so exciting. But then we had the grief that we had to deal with and getting together, and then the random applications, and hopefully I'll have some news next week about the job front and moving forward and all that kind of stuff. It's been a week of trying to just keep moving forward with the random shit and helping out around the house. So that's kind of where my focus has been. Listeners, we need mail.
Yeah.
We need anything. Just send us travel stories. Send us anything.
Look, I'm going to specifically call one out, and I know that he's written us a lot, but the last time that Scoop Jesus wrote to us, it elicited a question. that we asked here on the air. And then he, and I thank you for this, came and saw me perform at Stacey Stardust's Secret Circus. And I referenced the question. He's like, I heard it. I'm going to write you back. And then he started to answer. I'm like, no, write it back. Save it for the podcast. So I literally, it's been over a month. Not only did I perform at that show, but then you performed at the next month's Secret Circus. So write us, answer that question, and tell us on the air about your experience performing at that show, because we'd love to hear about it.
I'd also like to hear an update from our good friend Michael McKenna. Call you out by name.
Yeah.
Over in Jersey. Huh? Yeah. You mentioned some things were going to happen. You'd audition for some shows. Let us know how that's going. I want to hear about it. And if you're new to the podcast, just send us a message. Hey, I'm new. Thanks for listening. Thanks for doing the podcast. I enjoy listening. Let us know, what kind of things you want to hear, what kind of things you want to talk to us about. If you're liking what we're saying, if you think we should change, whatever. We just want to hear from you guys. We do this, and sometimes we feel like we're talking in the void, but I know that we're not, because people do hit us up on social media and they tell us that they're listening. I found out we found out in the last episode that Billy's father listens to the podcast, which, thank you. Thank you for listening so much. So, it's wonderful to find out in the wild that we have listeners reach back and touch us as well.
Also, if you think that Brogan is doing a nice job, it has absolutely nothing to do with this podcast here. But just if you think that Brogan is doing a nice job, feel free to email us and say, nice job, Brogan.
Yeah, and if you don't know who Brogan is, she's one half of a podcast.
Hey, buddy, nice podcast.
With our friend Wayne Gio. And
they're doing a nice job over there.
They're doing a really good job over there as well. So check them out. And
you can even say something nice about Wayne in the email. We just won't read it.
Exactly. Do something else with it. Then write them and say nice stuff about us.
Yeah, that's cool too.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. All right. And then, of course, if you want to be a supporter of the podcast, swing on over to bullwiththebutthole.com. That'll take you directly to our Patreon, where you can support the podcast. You can join the community for free. But if you feel this podcast is worth more than $0, you can hop on one of the tiers and support us that way as well. We, of course, the higher the tier, we'll give shout outs and different access. So check it out. And we'd appreciate to see you guys over there as well.
Hell yeah.
All right. And in the meantime, safe travels.
Safe travels.